people get used to you and then start approaching you in the street and going, "You're a twat, Guy," or whatever.
Welcome to Get Shirty, the podcast that likes to look at the little things in life which never fail to irritate. Each episode, we ask our special guest to talk about what gets them shirty at home, work, and going out. Then, our off-the-cuff surprise question could take the chat anywhere. Each guest also designs their own made-to-measure shirt, which we then make. So we talk about that too. Funny that, us being tailors. Hello, it's Get Shirty podcast time again. How are you all? Well, I hope. So who's our guest for today? Well, it's Guy Lloyd. Guy Lloyd is a radio presenter. He's a singer. He's an event host. He's an MC. He's a podcast host. I mean, is there anything this man can't do in the name of entertainment? Probably not, but will we ever find out? Who knows? Now, me and Guy go back quite some time, actually, back to when I was tailoring in Brighton, and he was the host of Juice FM's breakfast show, and that's how we first met. Since then, he's been really busy with all sorts, including a rather wonderful appearance on Britain's Got Talent, which we talk about. That's enough of me talking about it. Let's hear what Guy's got to say. Here we go then. 3 tailors, 2 mics, 1 guest, and a host of irritations. Let's get shirty. Guy, welcome to the Get Shirty podcast. It's lovely to see you. So, full disclosure, we've known each other a while, haven't we?
Yeah, I was just trying to work out, probably nearly 20 years or something.
Must be.
Nice to see you again.
Yeah, and you don't act like, without sort of making it sound like I'm trying to flatter you as a guest, you don't really look much different. Whereas I've gone full bald and completely grey.
I've had a lot of work done.
Oh, yeah.
I saw you, yeah.
Yeah, the face actually looks more taut than ever.
It's hard to smile.
Yeah, I can laugh, I can't smile. Like. But you've been keeping well.
Yeah, I have. You know, I mean, it's funny, when I was coming over on the train, I was thinking, you know, that gap since I last saw you and life events that happen.
Yeah.
And you're catching up with someone.
I suppose it's probably been 9 years?
Probably, yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, and I'd say certainly in that
Maybe.
period I've had the most drastic changes in my life, but all for the better.
Yeah.
I think a lot of my glowing, healthy look
Comes
with. I had quite a hedonistic lifestyle. Let's face it. When I knew you in Brighton, and which came with the territory of working in radio, I think. But you know, just doing the early mornings. I was thinking when we were talking about doing the breakfast show, which is when I was seeing you for like suit fittings and things. You know, there's a few all-nighters around that time, a few sort of going out and being invited to this and that, and then going straight into work the next day.
Yeah, you were quite busy on the hosting scene as well. You used to host the stuff at the football and all the gala events. And
yeah, I mean, when it's, you know, they say, what's the saying? Make hay while the sun shines or something. I sort of knew exactly that. Yeah. I knew there was a lot of work coming in, and I think when I first started on the radio, I learned quite quickly to say yes to a lot of things. Yeah. Because I knew that 1, I might not get the opportunity again. 2, I was learning the trade really. I didn't go to university or anything to learn how to present. So but I knew that I could show off.
Yeah.
For the crowd. So I just said yes to everything, and I quickly sort of learnt on the job, you know. Right. And some of them were appalling gigs, and some went really badly. But most were great. But it was all a learning experience. Everything. Yeah. I always came out of every experience better, more equipped.
Yeah.
Whether it was a tough crowd or whether it was just, soul crushing, like doing outside broadcasts outside of a real estate or something because they pay the radio station lots of money. Yeah. It's pretty soul crushing stuff.
Yeah.
commentating on the Brighton Marathon until the last person crosses the line. Nice. 8 hours later,
Yeah.
It's things like that that sort of, it's good experience.
Yeah.
But I'm a bit more picky these days. But it was all great, just training on the job and getting paid for it. And, I was very lucky to do that.
Yeah, because it was a busy radio station as well, actually, wasn't it, back then? You had a lot of the big names. I mean, Brighton's a big city, isn't it, really? And you used to get a lot of because of the Brighton Centre, you'd get a lot of big bands down there, and they'd all come in and...
We weren't, because we were independent, you see. Like Heart was our main competitor.
Yeah.
But they were owned by a big corporate machine, and we were independent, so we could always make decisions on the ground floor. If our manager said, "Hey, do you fancy this or that?" The decisions were made between presenters and managers. A lot of it was commercially based, but and we said yes to a lot of emerging artists.
Yeah.
That went on to do really great things. Whereas a lot of radio stations would be, we've never heard of you, so we're not going to do an interview. But people like, I'm trying to think, Amy Winehouse, Duffy, people like that, when they were breaking, we got some of the first interviews. We really helped Whizzle Kicks get on the map because they did Great Escape, and they were forever thankful for that. I think we're the first radio station to pick them up because they were local. They did Great Escape, which we covered, which is a 3-day festival, and they performed, and there was a bit of a buzz, and we interviewed them, and then the single landed, and then it all sort of took off. But they didn't forget that. They didn't forget that we gave them a bit of radio airplay, So we jumped on a lot of things early, which was great, and the record company remembers that as well. They're like, "Oh yeah, you've done us a favour there." Like I remember going for dinner with the Saturdays when they first broke.
Oh, right.
Bizarre situations. Girls Aloud coming down. That was a fun day. One of their dogs bit my son. That was quite memorable.
Nice.
In the studio.
Oh, yeah. And you didn't sue?
No, I didn't sue. But the record company remembers. And then when you get the big boys, and the big boys coming to town, if you're under the same record label, we've got, some of the big ones. Kings of Leon was a biggie.
Yeah.
Girls Aloud was a biggie. They actually came to the station and in person. And then people like Ricky Gervais and... so you kind of say yes to all the little guys, so to speak, or the ones that are...
Yeah.
Some of them completely disappeared, obviously, but a lot of them went on to do big things, and we get remembered, so it was lovely. And also, we had the freedom of we're at the forefront of all the events.
Yeah.
So we could choose if we wanted to cover Pride and Great Escape and Brighton Fringe and Burning the Clocks and all those big events. We were proper local. I think that's what people loved about Juice.
Yeah, and sometimes you got to interview local tailors.
Yeah.
Live on air.
There was some
obviously highlight of your
career. There were some real highlights.
Risky.
Yeah, it was risky. Oh yeah, it was. When I think about it. Do you know, actually, being interviewed on your radio show, I don't know. Because obviously the radio show were trying to get us to spend advertising money. I think that's how we met, essentially. But I remember coming in and being interviewed, and I'd never done anything like that before. And you were really relaxed, and it was nice, and you were chatting, and you went, "Anyway, that light's going to come on in a minute. I'm going to need you to be really quiet, and we'll do this. We'll go to an advert, and then I'll speak to you, okay?" And as soon as you said that, I remember my mouth went dry, and I went, "Oh crap! I'm actually going to be," it suddenly felt like something different. It was quite an interesting thing to do, sitting there in the studio going, hoping. Well, you obviously, I'm looking at you two, them knowing me as they do. My head just instantly went, "Don't say shit or fuck it. Don't shout it out."
You go into panic mode, don't you? I can still remember that feeling. Yeah. It's very odd. And I think it took a while when I look back, and I started out at hospital radio.
Right.
I daren't listen to my early shows because I think I'd be very Alan Partridge like. I think in my head I think this is how I need to talk. I need to talk like all the radio presenters talk. And it wasn't the biggest compliment I ever got was from my boss, who's like a radio nerd who bought radio stations, sold radio stations.
Right.
His whole life. I still work for him with Slack City. He's my boss at Slack City. And he said to me once, he said, "I like you, Guy, because you don't sound like a radio presenter."
Right.
And I was really, at first I thought, and then I thought about it, I thought, I know what he means.
Yeah.
because I got to a point where I could just talk like I'm talking to you now. It was quite natural. There was a little bit of performance, and I was doing gags and things. You have to kind of think about timing and stuff, but I got to a point where I could just relax. Yeah. But I remember that feeling that you're talking about of like, oh my God, I'm on air and I've got to put the voice on. And
and I'm going to say, like, I always was like, I'm going to forget how to talk, or I'm instantly going to say something stupid. Yeah. You know, which I do. Yeah. So, you know, the fear was real, I think, possibly, but thankfully. Thankfully, I can say whatever I like here, and then Stu does a brilliant edit. Yeah. And I sound amazing.
Sound polished.
Yeah. Although,
but I think it's, you know, I've learned about nerves and anxiety pre-performance. It's just, for some people, it gets to a point where it's uncontrollable and it's quite unpleasant. But I think for me, I care about what I do. Yeah. And I want to get it right. And I need a bit of anxiety and a few nerves to kind of remind myself that not to take it for granted and not be complacent about it. Yeah.
So do you find that when you're singing with the band that you get do you get those nerves? Because I don't get the nerves.
Do you know? I think out of everything I do, it's probably the most comfortable thing that I do, and it gives me the most pleasure and excitement. I think. Right. It sort of brings out the young boy in me that used to, you know, air guitar and try and sort of copy Freddie Mercury's moves in front of the mirror. It's that excitement of being on stage and dressing up, and the whole routine of it, I think, gives me the biggest high. Right. I think, and it's a different kind of energy. Yeah. On stage, I think, to like a radio show or something. It's very. I think with music, there's an energy in the room, and you can tell whether it's going well or not. Yeah. And you can look at people's faces and generally see the joy. Some people look a bit baffled or confused.
Oh, they're always interesting gigs, those.
But you get an instant thing, you know. Whereas on the radio, you're just sat in a room on your own. So for a long time, I didn't know how it was going at Juice. Just I was sat here on my own. Then I had a co-host for a little while, and you're just talking into a microphone, you know. Yeah. And it isn't until people get used to you and then start approaching you in the street and going, "You're a twat, Guy," or whatever.
Oh, thanks. You think, you listen then.
That's good. Yeah. People are listening, making an impression, not just my mum. Yeah. Yeah, and then you start getting feedback, and then people start. I think once people get used to you and what you're about, then they'll give you some honest feedback. So.
Yeah, I found that with doing the podcast actually. Like we sit here and we talk to people, it's really nice, and you know we all talk about it afterwards, and you know it's a nice, enjoyable thing to do. And I sometimes forget that people are going to listen. You know, I'm sort of aware that they're going to listen, but like we had somebody on, Tom, who's the episode that's out at the moment as we're talking, and he said, "Oh, you know, I listen," and I sort of go, "Oh, I forget that people are going to listen." Like Richard Herring said, you know, when I said to him, "Oh, do you want to come on?" He said, "Well, yeah, why not? Actually, I listened to your Adam Buxton one," and I thought, oh, that's weird, you know, and I suddenly, like, it freaked me out a little bit. I was like, oh, somebody who I listen to listens. The idea, as well as having a chat, is to find out some Get Shirties from you.
Oh, yes.
You know, so we'll go down that route. But let's first, before we do that, let's have a little chat about your shirt that we're going to do for you.
Yeah.
In fact, and you've taken a slightly different approach to most people.
Got trousers.
Yeah, I want a shirt that looks like trousers. No, you've gone for a slightly different sort of. What surprised me actually about doing this is when you say to someone, "Oh, we'll make you a shirt, we'll make you whatever you like." Quite a lot of people have said, "Oh, I'd just like a nice white shirt to wear when I'm going out."
I thought about that.
Yeah, is that's a tempting thing to do? Is it?
Well, just. It's always needed, isn't it? So practically, but I thought I could just buy that, and it goes under a jacket generally, and I only wear a suit probably 3 or 4 times a year. So it felt like an opportunity to do something a bit different.
Yeah, so we are doing something a bit different. So burgundy
colour. Yes.
It's a good colour on you. That's what you tell me.
Brings out my eyes. Yeah.
And well, the taut face is doing that. All the work that you've had done, the extra twinkle. But yeah, so we're doing a burgundy shirt, double patch pockets, angled patch pockets. Be nice.
I had to up my game, Stuart. Wow. You know, I've got a side of me that never wants to stand out. Weirdly, so when I'm like this, I'm quite happy to blend in.
All right.
And not sort of, I don't want to be. Yeah, I don't like.
You're not a peacock.
I want to go under
when you're not performing.
Yeah, I want to go under the radar.
Yeah.
The listeners can't see that you're dressed like a clown at the moment.
That's right. Yeah.
The makeup's a nice touch.
Thank you. Yeah. No one noticed on the train.
Oh, it's very strange.
But yeah. So there's, but yeah, I recently got into a new relationship.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And she's the most stylish woman. I mean, that's what kind of caught my eye when I met her.
Right.
And I've had to up my game still.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, she's got just. I think we dated for about. I think probably had about 20, 25 dates before she'd worn the same.
Right. Okay.
Twice.
Yeah.
Every time I saw her, she had a different hairstyle,
Right.
different outfit. And I thought, oh my God, I've really got to up my game.
Yeah.
So I started spending a bit of money on clothes because I don't think I bought any clothes for a while.
Yeah.
During lockdown and all that.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to be a bit more stylish.
Nice. Well, you're pulling it off.
Thanks.
I like it. So yeah, well, this shirt is going to help for sure.
I hope so.
It's it's a little bit more sort of relaxed than we'd do from a tailoring point of view, but it's a good style. I think it'll look good on you.
I'd like to get a suit as well down the line, another suit down the line.
Well, yeah.
So I'll chat to you about that another time. But I definitely need more suits. I think I've got that tweedy one that you made as well, didn't you?
Oh yeah,
This is at my mum's. I had to, when I moved out the big house, as I call it, and into a little flat, I had to sort of make some tough decisions on storage. So my mum's got a load of stuff, but I think amongst them is your tweedy suit that you made.
Yeah, of course I'd forgotten that.
Greeny tweedy one.
Yeah, that was nice. That was nice actually. It was that, and we did you a navy as well back in the day.
Yeah, the tweed when I was going through my shooting pheasants stage,
yeah, walking through the middle of Brighton with a brace of pheasants.
Yeah, there's a lot of pheasants on West Street.
Yeah. So look, so there's your shirt. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what that comes out like. From a Get Shirty point of view, what we like to find out what our guests' Get Shirties are. Work, rest and play. The Mars Bar side of things, if you remember that advert. And we start with a Get Shirty around work. Yeah. So, like, is there an aspect of work, past, present, that gets you shirty, that you think, that's irritating, gets under my skin, or I'm fed up with that?
Yeah, I think it's just work.
Oh, just work in general. Yeah. Okay.
Agreed. I was thinking about this.
Actually,
I'm really lucky that I've loved most of my jobs, and I like the current one I've got a lot of part-time jobs, but my main job is working in a rehab 9 to 5, working with addicts and alcoholics, etc. But what I can't bear about it, and I'm working hard to kind of move away from, is just that mundaneness of alarm going off every morning.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to get up, do my yoga, brush my teeth, do my falafel wrap.
You've changed. You've changed.
Cycle to work. Yeah, this is entitled to my rock and roll lifestyle.
Yeah.
And I get so bored of that repetitive routine. Yeah.
Right.
I actually like work when I get there, and it's a very fulfilling job. But I think it's something in human nature where, and I'm a bit like that. I said earlier. Now I like my afternoon tea at 4 o'clock, and I'm a creature of habit, but also I do like variety, and I just find, I think as a society, I think we've got a very there's imbalance between work and play and family life, and the retirement age seems to be going up and up and up. So I think by the time I'm reaching that, it's going to be, I don't know, 70 or 75, who knows? But it does feel like, I don't think I'll ever stop working, but I want to get to a point where I want to work on my terms.
Right.
So if I wake up, like I was working late last night on the radio show, and I didn't, and I had a couple of drinks afterwards. I don't drink, but a couple of non-alcoholic beers in the pub just to catch up with people. I can get to bed till 1 o'clock, then I'm up at 6 for work. Right. It just would have been nice to have a morning off this morning, go for a swim, and then, casually get the train over here. So I think work is my...
So you get shirty as work?
I get shirty with just having to do something that I don't want to do.
Yeah.
when I have to do it.
Yeah, because you're busy as well, aren't you? Because you do the radio show, podcasting, live events, hosting stuff, comedy nights.
The irony of this is I'm a bit of a workaholic. So,
you want to give up the thing that you do the most.
I take a lot of work on, but I think ideally I'd love to be able to, as much as I love my full-time job, I'd like to be able to get to a position where I can just do my comedy show, do my podcast. I'm also training to be a counsellor, so I go to college every Tuesday night. I'd like to do a bit of counselling on the side. Yeah. But just have that sort of freedom of like, okay, I'm going to do a couple of hours work this afternoon. Yeah. But you have to work really hard to kind of get to that level. But that's kind of the dream. But that's the thing I get shirty about. I'm forced. What I don't like is being forced to get on my bike, cycle down Brighton seafront in the lashing rain, to get to work on time.
Sounds dreamy.
To work for 8 hours for a below Brighton minimum wage.
Yeah, that's fair.
Incredibly demanding work, working with addicts.
Yeah.
But that's probably the thing I'm shirty about. But I crack on when I'm there, and the day goes quick. So I'm thankful for that. I have had some.
You like the work, but just all of the process around.
Yeah.
The routine of.
And I'm not a morning person. I don't really come alive I come alive around about Thursday, about 11 o'clock.
Right. That's peak Guy.
Yeah, that's peak Guy at work. Yeah. And then I get Friday afternoons off. So if you catch me between sort of Thursday lunchtime and Friday lunchtime, that's at my peak.
Yeah.
Monday and Tuesday is a bit of a write-off, and I'm very slow in the morning. I don't really get going in the morning.
So a breakfast radio show was really great for you.
Yeah, I don't know.
But that's different though, is it? Getting up at 4 a.m. That's not like getting up in the morning. Does that make sense to anybody?
Yeah, it's more like getting up in the middle of the night.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like it's a different routine to everybody else.
Yeah.
So it doesn't feel like.
I was probably into friends on the way to work that were coming out of clubs. That's what it was like. But you're also performing every day, so there's an excitement.
Yeah.
And I didn't bounce out of bed going, woohoo, woohoo. But it was like, I've dreamed of this job and I've got it. And I've dreamed of this show when I got the breakfast show. And I've got it and I'm just going to make the most of it. So there was an element of dragging my ass out of bed like anyone does for work. But I think once I got there and we went live, I was just carried on adrenaline really for 4 hours, a few peaks and troughs. But generally, you know all about that when you're performing. The adrenaline sort of carries you through, but you're exhausted afterwards.
Yeah, you get that
a big
sort
come down.
Get that sort of crash. Yeah, work. Do you know work? Just actually the get shirty of work. So I don't think that's come up before, has it? It's always been a specific thing. And I'm surprised it hasn't come up before.
Actual going to and from.
Yeah. I think it's that, and the other thing is, I think Tim said it in the office. Ricky Gervais's office. Tim alluded to it. Martin Freeman's character.
Yeah.
When he said, the weirdest thing about work is being thrown together with strangers and you're all sharing this bit of carpet for 8 hours a day, and you spend more time with them than family and friends, and I think that's a weird thing about work.
Yeah.
But luckily I've got good colleagues that I work with, but I think it is just the mundaneness. I'm not the Groundhog Day of like, here we go again.
Yeah.
And I love my weekends, and they go really quickly, and it's back to Monday, but it's nowhere near as bad as it used to be. I think when I was a drinker and like going heavy on the weekends, my Mondays and Tuesdays were really difficult. I don't get that so much. I don't get that Monday blues anymore.
Yeah.
It's just a sort of sluggishness that wears off by Thursday.
Peak Guy.
Yeah, peak Guy.
Yeah, I think we should maybe put a reminder in the calendar.
Yeah.
So we get a little alert. Yeah. So just so we know, look, Guy's hitting Peak Guy.
This is a good time to talk to Guy. Yeah.
This is a good time for Guy.
Hello, it's Santa here, and I've been getting lots of letters from people who don't know what to get loved ones for Christmas, so I thought I'd lend a hand with some ideas. Well, how about popping onto the Hardman and Hemming website? That's www.hardmanandhemming.co.uk, and getting some of their wonderful socks, or maybe a pair of cufflinks. Or, even better, why not buy that special person one of their shirt gift vouchers? Then they can be just like a guest on the Get Shirty podcast. With their vouchers, they can then design their own shirt, pick the cloth and details, and pop in a few measures, and hey presto, their very own Get Shirty shirt. I do hope Mrs. Claus has got a shirt voucher for me. I have terrible trouble finding things that fit. Too many mince pies. I hope that helps. Don't get too shirty. Merry Christmas!
So work, rest and play. So we take rest as being at home. Have you got like a what's irritating about
home?
Yeah,
I was struggling with this one because I live on my own, which is sort of my little haven, really.
Yeah.
So there's times when I just can't wait to get home and close the door and just think I don't have to deal with any of that stuff outside. This is namely people. I'm a people person, but my God,
they're irritating.
They're irritating mostly. And I think it's just stuff like, there's a theme here, it's mundaneness. It's just, I've got to wash up again. It's this, I really I'm working most of the time when I get home. So I do my day job, and then I get home, I might have a little breather of a run or a bath or something, or swim in the summer in the sea. And then I'll cook, because I'm on my own, no one else is there cooking for me.
Falafels again.
Falafels, and then
for tea.
and then I'm into work. I'm generally prepping shows and things, interview questions, research, all that stuff. There's a lot of that goes on. I do all the marketing, all my shows. I have to push ticket sales and all the rest of it. And then I'm like, I'm done.
Right.
And I think, I've always got a Netflix series that I'm on.
Yeah.
Watching The Bear at the moment, which is on Disney.
I've watched that, yeah. You've watched that.
It's amazing, it's really good.
Wait for the next season.
And I had that moment of it's time to relax. And then I remember, I've got to do washing up,
Yeah. And
I'm not one for leaving it for the morning, because I hate waking up to a dedicated show. It's the mundaneness of, my girlfriend comes over and goes, when are you going to dust that corner? And I'm like, I quite like the mound of dust.
Yeah. The dust bunnies.
Yeah, so
swirling round.
It's just all that, I think. Yeah. And I think when I was married, I was married for 20 years, and I think when you're a team and you're sort of helping each other out, I missed that for a long time. It's like, so I would cook and my ex-wife would wash up, and then it'd be vice versa the following night. Right. And I think when I first moved out and got my own place, I have to do everything.
I've got to do it twice.
Yeah, and that was really hard work. It just seemed like an endless cycle of washing up. Yeah, but I love my home. It's a very tiny little one-bedroom flat in Cape Town, but it's next to the Downs. Yeah. It's Brighton Park. It's next to the sea. More importantly, it's right next to Lidl. I spend a lot of time.
How do you feel about the middle aisle of Lidl?
I try not to go down it. Yeah. I might go out of morbid interest.
So are you trying to say you can resist the middle aisle of Lidl?
Yeah, I don't need a hedge trimmer or.
But there's the thing with that middle aisle of Lidl. There is always something you think, I could use that.
Yeah,
I could make use of that.
I've got this thing in my head where I'm really pleased that my trajectory of being in Brighton is correlated with the local supermarket. So when I first went to Brighton, my local supermarket was Waitrose, and then gradually as my life has gone downhill, it went from Waitrose, and then it was Tesco's, and then it was Morrison's, and it was Asda, and then I'm going to get to a point where I'm going to be going for the bins. But
like a fox.
Yeah, but I'm at Lidl now, so and there's nothing against Lidl, but it's so cheap. And I remember doing my first shop there, and I did a weekly shop. Bearing in mind when I was married, I think it used to be well over £100. I mean, that was shopping for the three of us, my son as well. But I couldn't believe I did a weekly shop for like 17 quid or something.
Yeah, nice.
Because I'm vegan, I was just buying loads of fruit and vegetables.
Yeah.
So I love that side of it, but there's something about me being in a cheap shop that doesn't trust anything in the middle aisle.
Yeah.
I think that can't be good quality if it's in Lidl,
Yeah.
and it's a bit snobby to say that. So I might just look out of interest and laugh,
Yeah.
have a little giggle.
Oh, look, there's always something.
Yeah, maybe I should embrace it a bit more.
Well,
It's a good night out, isn't it?
Well, it is. Yeah, look, if you're on the down and you think, Lidl's only on the up.
I think so.
So perhaps,
It's how you look at it, isn't it? I'm gonna when I move, probably moving next year at some point, but
you'll miss
it's gonna
Lidl.
be a big loss.
It will.
Yeah.
And then you'll be regretting not. You won't be able to look over and see the pair of workman's boots that are still toe capped, which you got for like £6 from a Lidl.
Yeah.
Lidl.
And I love the sort of chaos of it. People will just to find the sort of perfect avocado. There'll just be people just throwing boxes over their shoulders to get to, and then there's just you'll find some biscuits in the where the mangoes are, and it's just great. It's just chaos in there. I love it.
So there's a thing I really like about Lidl. Same with that Aldi as well. Is like how close they can get to the actual product without it being the actual product.
Right. Yeah.
Like their version of a Mars bar or
Yeah.
something
They'll
is
put a
like
slant on it,
the caramel bar.
Yeah.
But the packaging is so close.
Yeah.
They're
clever
I quite like that.
I get to know the staff as well there. There's 2 or 3 staff members that I've never talked to, but they're so familiar to me. And when I see them out in town, I've seen them out in town, and it's almost like spotting a celebrity.
Yeah.
Like, I know that. Oh, I know that guy.
Yeah.
He's from Lidl. So it's a bit disappointing. He's not off the TV, but
Well,
they're so familiar, the staff to me there.
Yeah, I once was a day at the races. I think it was. Maybe I'd gone horse racing somewhere, or it might have been
a Queen album.
That's what I thought.
no, or it might have been a ground racing actually.
That's news world.
And I thought, I know that bloke. Oh, where do I know him from?
Yeah.
And he was a cleaner from Churchill Square.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I did a.
Oh, you did the calendar thing up there, didn't you?
Did the calendar thing up there for a little while, yeah. And I thought, oh no, hello mate, how
Yeah.
are you? Oh, I remember
It's
now.
that familiarity. It's like, where do you know this person from?
Yeah, so
that's Lidl.
that's Lidl.
God, that veered off, didn't it?
It did. That's all right. I don't know. So being at home,
Yes.
mundane. That's what
Yeah,
you done.
yeah.
That was your Git Shirty.
Yeah,
Let's
it's
bring it
that.
back round.
Yeah.
I always do that in the House of Mirrors. I always recognise that bloke in there.
Yeah, who is he? I am sensing a thing. So the mundane things in life, you want life to be super snappy. And
Yeah.
is that why you
snappy
sort of
and exciting, and
throw yourself into strange situations?
I think so.
Like the old the Vince
I
Venus.
think when I did Britain's Got Talent and Come Dine With Me, people say, why did you do that?
Oh,
I'd
Come
be
Dine With Me? I didn't realise you'd done
Yeah.
Come Dine With Me.
People say, why did you do that? I'd just be, well, why not? Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Like, it's a great experience. And it was, generally.
Because didn't you do Britain's Got Talent because you knew one of the producers and they called you to say, do you know anybody who wants to come?
Yes.
Yeah.
They ran the radio station and said, and I picked the phone up and they said, we're looking for talent in Brighton. Do you know any talented people in Brighton? And I said, no, none.
Literally
Brighton
no
has
one.
no talent.
Yeah.
I said, but I have.
Yeah.
She said, what's your talent? And I said, without thinking about it, I said, I can sing a Queen song in a gold catsuit. Because I just had a gold catsuit made and I love Queen.
Right.
And she was like,
So
okay.
you already had the catsuit?
Yeah, so the catsuit had been made. Yeah, so that was just there. And I didn't think anything more of it. And then she just sort of chuckled, and I thought that would be the last I hear of that. And then the producers from BGT rang me the next day and said, we're going to come down and audition you. I was like,
Right.
shit, this is
real.
This is escalating very quickly.
Yeah, yeah.
So I spoke to my friend Russell, who owns Concord, and we basically rented Concord 2 out the venue in Brighton on the seafront for a couple of hours, and I absolutely butchered about 3 or 4 Queen songs with a couple of producers from BGT who filmed it. And I thought, well, I'll never hear from them again.
Yeah.
And then they rang me the next day and said they loved the audition. So I'm thinking, okay, I know what's happening here. I'm terrible. I can't sing, but they want to get me on the show and humiliate me. And so I'm going to sort of play. And I also knew that it was going to be good for me in terms of profile on the show, and it was good content to talk about, and anything can happen. So we're sort of playing this little game. We had loads of interviews because they're digging around, want to find out about your past. And I got a bit nervous about it at one point. And I spoke to Annabelle Giles, who's sadly no longer with us. But she was a friend in Brighton, famously married to Midge Duo, and was all that through that Band-Aid, Live Aid era. She was with Midge, and she lived in Brighton. And I got to know her. She's a fantastic woman, and she did I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. So I rang her for some advice. I'm like, BBC on back. I kind of want to do it, but I'm not sure if I need to. And, the risks. And she gave me some really good advice. She said, she had two things I'd tell you about going onto a reality TV show. One, don't look desperate. I was like, well, it's too late for that.
that horse has bolted.
Yeah. That ship has sailed. Second one was, she said, come up with a character. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Come up with a character and just be that character and don't let them in. Because they'll dig around. They'll want to know your past. They'll want a sub-story so they can play the sad music and find out all about your granddad that you accidentally ran over or whatever.
Yeah.
So I came up with...
Just going to leave that, are we?
Yeah. I was taking it was just a made-up example, but we can dig deeper.
But so I came up with Vince Venus, which was inspired by Freddie Mercury, planets, etc.
Right.
And that was it. I was off and running. They interviewed me, and I just came up with this whole spiel of like being the future of rock and roll, and
you did, and you leaned into that.
Yeah, I really leaned into it. And then of course it kind of. Yeah, it kept going, and still you don't really know if you're going to be on the show. And then I got the call saying you're going to be on the show. Well, not going to be on the show. You're going to do the audition.
Yeah.
Of course, I went up to. I think it was. What was lovely about it is I can't remember the venue, but I think it was either Hammersmith or in London. What was lovely about it when I walked into the venue, so you get invited up. I went with my wife, son, and some friends. They were all in the audience. And then I walked through into this room, and it was called. I looked up, and it was like Freddie Mercury suite.
Right.
And I found out that Queen had performed on that stage, which was like the most exciting thing for me, to be on the same stage as that. And then he just hoarded into this room with all these other desperate people.
Yeah.
All desperate to be famous, and just waiting to get the call. I was there for. I was there for 14 hours.
No.
Yeah. Just in this room, pacing up and down. Occasionally going for a little walk to the corridor and practicing.
In my gold
catsuit all
the
day.
time.
I had makeup on. I got made up in Brighton, caught the train up to London in my outfit.
So there wasn't even somewhere there where you could get ready.
It's a very surreal. No, yeah. And I was kind of getting into character, and and then, but you're not told when you're going to go on. They've got the production team have got a whole plan going on. It's a massive productions. People running around everywhere, and it was getting late, and I got the call. It's like, right, you're on, and that was the most surreal moment because I went out, but I had backstage, and then I saw Anton Deck, and then before you know it, you're just on stage into the lion's den, and I see the four stern faces, and they all look really.
Who were your judges? So it was the classic lineup.
Yeah, Amanda Holden, David Williams, and Sam Cowell.
Oh, it was the Williams
They
years.
looked really pissed off to see me. It was late. It was about 11 o'clock at night.
Oh shit! Really?
So people were losing the will, and I had told the producer early on what I was going to do. So I was singing "I Want to Break Free" by Queen, and then the plan was to sort of go into the judges and sort of flirt with David and maybe do a lap dance or something. In my head, I thought I've just got to make the most of this opportunity.
Yeah.
And as I get out and I sing. The first line, and all four buzzers go like in record time. And I just remember feeling absolutely gutted.
Yeah.
Feeling not so much for me, but like my family were up there, people were
14
and I got off stage, and Ant and Dec were like, "Oh my God, that was quick, wasn't it? And I said that, and the line that got me on telly was, I said, I've been here for 14 hours, and they just burst out laughing. and then you just, that's it. You kind of, I think I did a post interview with someone, and then you say, okay, we'll let you know. Da, da, da. So we sort of trundled off home a bit dejected, really, thinking that I haven't done enough to get on the show. And anyway, I think a few months passed, because this was like early in the year, and then the series starts, and you're still not sure if you're going to be on. And we watched it religiously as a family every week. And then one Saturday we watched it, and then you know when they say the voiceover man comes on, he goes, next week! Yeah. And then I popped up. Now there I was. And we all went, shit! And then they called me on the Monday and said, you're on next weekend. All right. So we had a little gathering, and of course it was over really quick. Yeah. But it's an amazing...
I remember you being on they did sort of show interviews with you and stuff as well. It wasn't just your...
Yeah, I think it was... it might have been quicker since, but the whole selling point for them and for me was like it was the quickest anyone had ever been buzzed off. Yeah. So it was on Good Morning TV the next day. Yeah. You know, it got a lot of press in the Argus. Twitter went a bit mad on the night. I think Prince Penis was trending. So it was like, and it ended up being, I had a mad couple of weeks. Yeah. And people were shouting at me in the street, and you get a bit caught up in it. But actually, as it tailed off, it worked out really well for me. And I decided to go on a bit of a quest with Vince to kind of finish the song. So I've only done the first line, I want to break free, and then the buzzers went. Right. So I sort of did a campaign on the radio going, we want Vince to finish the song. So we did a campaign to get him on the main stage at Brighton Pride. And he went on, and of course he got buzzed off after the second line. So this went on for a few shows. Yeah, yeah. And then he eventually got to finish the whole... I'm talking about him in the third person.
I know, I did. I was about to bring that up. But
he actually got to finish the song, the whole song. He sang the whole song in a tiny comedy club with someone called Brian Gittins, David Earl. Yeah, David Earl, a podcast with Joe Wilkinson.
He does Chatterbix.
Yeah, his character Brian Gittins used to do a night down at Sticky Mike's, and he rang me and said, can we get Vince to perform with my house band? And I said, who's your house band? And he said, Royal Blood. And I was like, I'm in. Yeah. I'll do it. So we went down to this tiny club, which is closed unfortunately now. And there they were. It's just the two of them, obviously. So Vince got to finish the song with Royal Blood in the end. Nice. And I milked that whole thing for a good, probably 2 or 3 years. Made a fair bit of money out of like guest appearances, and people wanted Vince to do this and that. And then of course it just fizzles out like it does. And now he just pops up. I've still got like six cat seats, I think, various colours. I went for a whole...
I remember the pink one.
Yeah, hot pink was
that was a good one.
So he just wears them in the band now and makes the odd guest appearance at Pride and stuff. But yeah,
it almost sounds like they planned that, doesn't it? The 4 of them.
Absolutely, it was planned. Yeah, it was planned. That was what was. I think another reason I did it was like because I was doing TV a lot at the time as well, and I was really interested in how it all worked. And it was a big operation, and Carol's right at the helm, controlling everything. But I think as soon as they knew what to do, they had notes. Yeah. And they're like, this guy's going to come out. Like. He's married. He's 48, 49. We think he's having a midlife crisis, probably. He looks gay, but he's married. He's got this whole, but he's wearing a gold cat, so he can't sing for shit. We need him on the show, but we need to kick him off. Yeah. Quick. Mm. Yeah. And that was it. And I could sense, when you kind of go out on stage and you get the energy from the crowd. I got the energy from them straight away that they were like, they wanted to go home and we just got to get rid of this guy as quickly as possible. But it worked out well, and it was a really good experience. Come Dine With Me was totally different, and that was fun. That was just good fun with 4 strangers that I met in Brighton. We're still friends today.
Oh, yeah. Oh, great.
Yeah, I spent the whole week drinking wine and hanging around and various people's houses, and that was a very different experience. And
what did you cook?
I did a...
Were you vegan then?
I was pescatarian then. Right. Did a prawn and mango starter, which was strong.
Fish and fruit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's like a sexy punk cocktail, like a modern day punk cocktail.
It's not very often done though, is it, fish and fruit?
No, but it went well. It went well. And then it went downhill from the mains onwards. I did a chicken enchilada, and then I had a corn, and then chocolate churros.
All right.
I think I remember that.
Yeah, I did it with a. It still gets repeated a lot. It gets repeated a lot because it was a really nice week. We all got really well. We weren't fighting, but there was a character on there called the Love Doctor, who was a bit strange. Monty, who I'm friends with, but he was odd. He said, I hosted the first night, and that's the moment when you think, because they come in and they put cameras everywhere, and the family had to move out for a couple of days, and then they just they had to film me going to the fancy dress shop because they were going to reveal Vince later. So you have to put on entertainment. I did a guitar competition dressed as Vince.
Right.
And then, so they filmed me going to the fancy dress shop and going, oh, what's Guy doing in the fancy dress shop? Stay tuned for later. And then you prep all the food and all that. And then there's a point where the producer says, off camera, okay, the taxis are outside. And that was the bit when I went, shit, I've got like 4 strangers coming to my house. I'm spending the week with them. I might know, Brighton's so small, I might actually know someone.
Oh, so you literally have got no idea.
No idea until they knock on the door.
Right.
And then, so they all came in. We had this really dishy Dutch pilot, which everyone fancied, called Tim.
Right.
Someone called Emma, who's like this ditzy blonde from Brighton, who I'm still good pals with. A girl called Hannah, who had this secret, which was revealed later in the week. She was a burlesque dancer. And then this guy called Monty, the Love Doctor, who professed to be a love doctor. He got no qualifications at all. He just gave himself that title. And he said, I hosted the first meal, and we sat down. I remember him saying, he went straight in with a story of how he turned down Cameron Diaz.
Oh, did he?
She was asking him for a date.
Right.
And immediately we all looked at each other going, this guy's mental. But also it's going to make good TV. I mean, we had a really lovely week. It's odd, you're kind of in a little bubble. You're not allowed to go on your phones or social media, and you're swimming in wine most of the time, just waiting to be filmed. And the whole, in the cab and giving the scores, you're just going around in a circle around at someone's house.
So the cab doesn't actually take you home?
No, you just breaking a lot of myths about the show.
Oh,
but it's really lovely. It's like you just get in this little bubble and you get to know the production team, and had a really lovely time. And it gets repeated a lot. I always know because I get messages from strange people.
Who won?
On Instagram. Tim, the dishy pilot, won. I came 5th.
Did you?
Or last.
It was your chocolate churros, I think.
Chocolate churros weren't great.
Yeah, I seem to remember that.
And I think someone described my mains as pub food at best, which was harsh. So within 2 years, I said when I came out of the whole thing, I'm talking about my reality TV experiences. I said, if you're going to find out that you can't sing and can't cook, you might as well do it on national TV.
Yeah.
The following is an announcement on behalf of a certain tailors based in Tunbridge Wells. Have you visited Hardman and Hemming online lately? No? Well, you should. They have a new sparkly website which tells you all about what they do and how they do it. There are examples of their work, blogs on how to look after suits, details of the services they offer, and not to mention all of the Get Shirty podcasts with additional pictures. But best of all, you can find details of the H&H Shirt Club, the shirt subscription service where a tailored shirt of your design will be delivered to your door as often as you choose. You even get one shirt free once you sign up. Not to be missed, so do pop along and go to hardmanandhemming.co.uk and sign up today. And remember, the first rule of Shirt Club is tell everyone about Shirt Club. That concludes our public announcement.
Actually, Come Dine With Me segues us quite nicely into going out. So that was going out. What do you get shirties about going out?
People.
People.
Yeah, I love going out, but I just don't want people there. You know, I go to a gig and I just want to watch the band on my own with a chair.
Just you.
Yeah.
Just you.
Yeah, the band would love that.
Yeah. It doesn't. Yeah, it's not very attractive for the band, but I think I think since I got sober, I really noticed how annoying people are.
Yeah.
In pubs, clubs. I avoided them for a long time when I got sober, because I got sober 2018, and then lockdown happened, which was heaven for me because I didn't have to socialise.
Yeah.
Sober, but I was still like a bit edgy around the drink. And then I sort of rediscovered that whole. I started forcing myself to go out on my own. I read The Artist's Way, which is a brilliant book about finding your creativity, and they recommend you go on solo dates. So I started dating myself, which I'd go out for a meal, and this was what I was literally single, but I thought I've got to get used to going out and being comfortable on my own without drinking drugs. Yeah. So I started going out for meals, and then started going to gigs. But I noticed how annoyed I'd get with people chatting through music, people that have got their backs to the music, people that are too tall. I say this as a 6'3" person. Yeah. But people that stand right in front of you.
Lack of self-awareness.
Yeah, and I think it's an age thing as well. You get a bit. I'm a people person. I've always had people-led jobs, whether it's been social care or radio or interviewing people. But I'm kind of getting a bit. I said to my girlfriend the other day, I've worked out what my purpose in life is, what I want to do, and she said, "What's that?" I said, I want to live on a farm and look after rescued animals, and I don't want to be around people anymore. Yeah. That's kind of that's where I'd like to go in the future. So I think I love going out, and I'm still great with people because it's sort of my job, and I do like meeting people, but I think generally that's quite public transport. I'm on trains a lot, moving around the country,
but I think people is a separate thing. I'm not going to be able to explain myself very well here, but I think the term, like when you talk about going out and you're saying I don't like people, that's a collective. People as a collective aren't great, and being around people as a collective, there's always going to be an irritating person, or like someone who's too loud or not aware, and so they become part of people. You know, like day-to-day people, talking to people, interviewing people, or seeing people in the shop, that's a person. Yeah. As soon as a person becomes a people, is that making sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then it becomes an irritating thing to deal with.
I totally agree.
Driving a car's nice, but being in traffic in a car is shit.
Yes.
Being a person out is nice, but when you're amongst people, it can be shit.
Yeah, and I think it's probably a bit of. I think everyone gets this. People get a bit of social anxiety in large crowds. Yeah. So it's a bit of a sweeping statement. I mean, a good example is today when I got off at is it
Tonbridge, yeah.
Tonbridge. I love the name. I kept saying it. I can't wait to see
Tonbridge.
Tonbridge.
Yeah. Tonbridge and Tonbridge.
I didn't know what to expect. I thought it'd be like this little one-horse town. And I got off, and it was packed.
Heaving.
And I remember thinking, "Oh God, I hate this place. It's full of people." And as I said that, I went past. I had one of the sort of glass cases where people sit in the main on the platform, and there was a load of school kids in there, and they'd all pressed their faces against the window, and were pulling faces at me, and I did this sort of shocked face, and they were all killing themselves laughing, and I thought, "Oh, that was a really nice moment." Yeah. Where I got off the train, made a sweeping mistake, statement. I hate everyone here. I hate this town. I want to get on the next train and just get to where I'm going. And then had a lovely moment with these kids. Yeah. So it's that. I totally agree. It's a good point there. What's in your hat?
Right.
Is this the surprise?
This is the... Do you want the explanation, Stu? So look at the two faces. Look. So
it's an explanation for people that might have been listening for the first time.
Exactly, and it's quite right. So this is, but the reason I say look at the two faces, Sam.
7 minutes long though.
No, Sam is well over the explanation. She doesn't want the explanation ever. Stu's quite right. Someone might be a first-time listener and don't get.
I'm a Guy fan who's just tuned in today.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, for Guy's mum, here comes the explanation. Right.
Yeah.
So, we decided after a couple of episodes that we would do an off-the-cuff question. Get shirty off the cuff. Hey, it all works. But then we couldn't work out how to deliver that off-the-cuff question to the guest.
Just drop it in.
So we went, oh no, we'll write some suggestions on a little piece of paper and then the guest can pick one.
Yeah.
But we then put them in a hat. And as Adam Buxton pointed out, it doesn't then work. It's off the cuff, out of the hat.
Yeah.
What he said, why don't you attach them to a cuff of a shirt and they can pull one off?
Oh, that's a good
Great idea.
Yeah.
But
That's
we
a
didn't
different podcast altogether. That,
Yeah.
But then they were, but we thought, no, they're in a hat now. They'll always stay in the hat. So now we have the explanation of why the little bits of paper are in a hat.
Off the cuff.
Off the cuff. It doesn't make sense. So we have to explain it.
Okay.
Someone last week, in fact, it was you, Stu, that said tombola.
No, that was...
I thought you said it because Tom was in.
Yeah, I did. But I think it's Paul Zenon that came up with the name
Tombola, did he?
Yeah.
We've had all
It was
sorts.
Tombola, but then
So-
it was better with Tom. 'Cause Tom was here.
Tom was here, the tombola. Yeah, we've had, could have been hot under the collar was another one. Was that Alex Horn said that? So feel free to name it yourself. You can give us a name that we can call it for your episode. But we call it the Hattie cuff hat, Hattie cuff, the cuff of hattiness.
Okay.
And there'll be a lovely bit of music that people will be hearing now, as we're
The Hat of Destiny was
the Hat
Barry
of
called it.
Destiny.
Hattie Japes.
Ooh.
That's an old reference. But
It's an old reference.
Some
I
people
like
don't
it.
get
The young folk won't get
The
it.
Hattie Japes.
Hattie Japes.
We'll carry on cuffing. Right. I did that. I was shaking this the other day and just one fell out and landed on the floor.
it?
That was definitely the Hat of Destiny. So here we go.
Okay.
Picking from the Hattie cuff of hattiness of destiny.
Do I give it to you or read it out?
You can read it out.
If I'm better to read this, I haven't got my
Hopefully the
glasses.
music
I'll
will
give
be
it a
coming to a
go.
crescendo about now.
Yeah.
Feeling poorly.
Ah, so have you got a get shirty about feeling poorly? Some people like feeling poorly. Not poorly, like not ill.
Yeah.
Feeling a bit poorly.
I hate feeling poorly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's inconvenient, isn't it?
It is inconvenient.
I had it a couple of days ago. I need to be 100%
Okay.
firing all the time. And I had a slight cold and my world was falling apart.
Like, was it the sniffles or was it sniffles plus?
I could just feel something coming. And you know, that expression of like it's in the post. I felt like there's something coming.
Right.
I could feel it on my throat. And I'm suddenly thinking I've got all these things coming up. I'm going to be wiped out. So I go into full, lots of vitamin C, echinacea, hot baths.
Right.
And do you know what? It's worked.
Okay.
Because this was Tuesday and I thought it's going to take me out of this.
Yeah.
And I'm the only person I think in my work that hasn't had time off this
Right.
so far, this autumn winter with cold or flu or COVID or something.
The autumn winter
I need to touch
season.
wood now. Yeah. So I think I'm no good at feeling poorly.
Right.
But I'll make sure everyone knows that I'm feeling poorly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're quite. What, looking for sympathy, or is it
classic man flu? Yeah.
classic man flu?
Yeah.
Nice.
It's attention-seeking behaviour which I thrive on.
Yeah. There is a there's a couple of themes which are coming out through this chat, and knowing you as I have over the years. Yeah. So. Yeah, that sort of. So you like to use. So an upside of feeling a bit poorly is its attention-seeking time.
Gets me attention, and that's basically why I'm here.
Yeah.
I think.
All right.
So I'm all right with that.
Bit of a catch-up, get some attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. I mean, the hardest thing with living on your own is not
having any
not having
sympathy.
attention from anyone.
Yeah.
But I'll just message people and say, just to let you know,
I'm not feeling great.
I'm feeling a bit poorly.
Well, you could. Perhaps that's the time to get yourself in that middle aisle of Aldi. Just hang around, sniffling.
Yeah.
Looking for something.
Lidl,
sorry.
Yeah.
Well, I do have
Is it
one,
Lidl?
Aldi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you haven't got the alliteration there.
No.
Lidl, you haven't got it, Aldi.
No. So. Oh yeah, that's true.
They do have
Which one did it first? Aldi
Lidl.
or Lidl?
Lidl,
Was it
I think.
Lidl?
I think so.
Did it first?
think so.
Because they're not the same countries, are they?
I think so. I think they're
Oh,
German.
are they?
I think
Are they
they're
both German?
I think so.
Are they? Okay, yeah.
I do believe
they
so.
are,
I think they're the two biggest supermarkets in Germany.
Yeah.
I believe.
I have to say,
Although I'll have to edit this if I'm completely wrong, so I don't
we
look
can fact
stupid.
check. Do you know, I brought some digital weighing kitchen scales from Lidl or Aldi. Who does Silvercrest?
They are not the same company.
No,
they're
same country.
Hold on.
Oh, thank you.
Should listen
Google,
more.
yeah, we have a Google check.
Probably Google.
The worst thing about feeling ill is when you get ill when you're on holiday. Like teachers or teachers' assistants.
Oh, yeah.
They perfectly healthy when they're at work, but as soon as they hit half term or holiday, they're ill
Yeah,
because of all the kids.
yeah.
Because they end up being ill when they don't want to be.
Yeah.
That's
They are both
That's irritating.
German owned,
Well done.
There you go.
Ding.
but
Yeah,
they're
so
not related.
I'm
No,
usually ill over Christmas.
Oh, okay.
That's usually.
Yeah.
The run up to Christmas in a tailoring world can
Yeah.
be a bit stressful.
I am around my birthday normally. I
Right.
might get, which is
Next week.
next week. Yeah, so I get a bit around that. But also I do have this thing where if I'm into I'm really into like a series or the Beatles documentary, the Peter Jackson Beatles documentary, Get
Yeah.
Back. There is a part of me willing to be ill when
Yeah.
that first came out because I just wanted to put some time aside and
Yeah.
wrap myself
It's
in a blanket.
guilt-free.
And, yeah,
guilt-free.
Guilt-free. Because I still feel really guilty when I'm off work, and I still feel like I have to put on a voice.
Yeah.
And I ring my boss.
Hello.
I say, "Oh, well, not great
What
today."
voice was that?
I don't know. That's my ill voice. I was never believed when I'd call in sick. That's on my own boss.
Still doing silly voices again.
Yeah, it
So
is
yeah,
that.
it's that I can't get away from the guilt. Which I think is a thing from childhood or big school
Yeah.
or just being forced to.
But you'd only have an ill voice if it was something that affected your throat.
Oh, yeah, but you.
If you've got a stomachache,
Yeah.
you wouldn't have an ill voice, but they
Yeah.
still put on an ill voice.
Oh, I don't feel
But
great.
stomach is,
Yeah.
if you are pulling the sickie and it's not 100%
Yeah.
true, I think the stomach one's a good one to go with, isn't it?
Yeah, don't
I-
go with a broken leg or anything like that.
No.
That's
I
too
always-
much work. It's worse when you're just a little bit poorly because
Yeah.
you can't really lean into it. I mean,
Yeah.
I know nobody wants to be seriously ill, but at least if you're seriously ill, you can complain about
You
it.
can, yeah.
Yeah, and that was the good thing about COVID. It was pretty black and white. It was like,
positive.
if you got the two lines, it's like, okay.
Yeah. I'm
Even
pregnant.
if you weren't feeling great,
Yeah.
even if you were slightly ill, you just had to send a photo of that to your boss, and you were like, okay,
Yeah.
stay away.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
got ill recently just from having a fluid COVID vaccine. And that, I couldn't
Yeah.
complain about that because I'm not
No.
ill, but I've got the symptoms.
Yeah.
It's even
Yeah,
worse.
yeah.
Like, I
Yeah,
feel terrible. I
Yeah.
can't say anything.
Yeah.
yeah.
I've got nobody to call in sick to
No,
other than
never.
myself. Yeah.
Us?
You could leave.
To know.
You could leave yourself a
Yeah,
message.
but I'd have to put a voice. I could leave.
Yeah,
but
leave
I'd have
yourself
to
a
put
message.
Do that
Voice
voice. Hello. Hello. I don't feel well.
He doesn't sound well. He doesn't sound well at all.
I genuinely don't.
He really doesn't sound
I
well.
genuinely don't know what that voice was. I was going for an ill voice. It came out as a. I don't know what that came out as. But yeah, keep that in.
Well, I believe you weren't
Hello?
ill if you said that.
I will be saying that from. Guy, thank you very much for coming on the podcast.
It's been a pleasure, Stuart. Thanks for inviting me. Thanks for the shirt as well. I know it's going to be. I haven't got it yet, but I know it's going to be good.
What a wonderful chat to have with Guy there. It was so lovely to have a catch up and spend a bit of time with Guy. I haven't seen him for a while. And thanks especially to Guy for doing the long train journey to the shop. It was a bit of a marathon by the sounds of things. A big thank you also to co-host, editor and producer Stuart Wilson. Amazing work as always. Thanks to Sam for keeping us on track and slowly talking more and more on the podcast. We're getting there. Thanks to Dat Hazard too for all of the music on the podcast. Does an amazing job. Go check out their other stuff. Of course, thank you to you, the listener, for being such great support, for continuing to enjoy what we do. and for making the podcast bigger and bigger after every episode. It really is appreciated. Until next time, do try not to get too shirty. We'll see you on Christmas Eve. Bye! It's too quick.
There's no
Yeah,
end
that
on
is-
it.
There's no end.
There's no-
You don't
No,
get to
there's-
bag it up, have a nice conversation. You've just got to bag it and
Yeah.
scoop the fuck off.
Yeah. There's no messing about.
That is it. Have you not? That's their slogan, isn't it? Bag it.
Fuck off.
I think that is.
I'm just picturing you self-serving now, where you're scanning it and then throwing it to yourself, and
Yeah.
then running and catching it.
I might do that. Let's get shirty. Let's get shirty. 3 mics. No, 3 tailors. 2 mics, 1 guest, and a host of irritations. Let's get shirty. Waffle, waffle, waffle. Feel free to use these bits as you like, Stuart.